London Tonight with Nina Hussain.
Good evening. We start with accusations that Boris Johnson is putting politics ahead of the success of the Olympics and that Londoners will pay the price. They come from the union Unite, and it centres on a row about Friday's bus strike. In 3 days' time, thousands of bus drivers are expected to walk out to back their claim for a £500 Olympic bonus. No peace talks are scheduled before then, and union leaders say that's because the mayor wants to take them on. The details now from our Olympic correspondent, Simon Harris.
Londoners don't just take the bus, they rely on it. Every day, 6.5 million passengers hop aboard. Yet, just 3 days from now, the entire bus fleet could be at a standstill. A London-wide strike is looming, and it's anyone's guess whether it can be stopped. The bus drivers' union Unite has called on Boris Johnson to intervene, but both City Hall and Transport for London seem determined to keep the dispute at arm's length, even if that means letting Friday's strike go ahead. Union leaders claim the bus companies have refused to negotiate, and they've been left with no alternative but to call a strike.
The claim stands at £500, which is at the very lower end, actually, of claims that have been put in by the transport workers and achieved by the transport workers. It's a fact that there's a growing support right across the public now for the bus workers' claim. There's only one group of people that are still not seeming to get it, and that's the employers and Transport for London.
Boris Johnson has described the strike threat as a matter for the bus companies. Transport for London takes the same view. This remains an issue between the private bus operating companies and the bus workers they employ. Meanwhile, a spokesman for London's bus operators was adamant they will not be paid any extra for operating normal services during the London 2012 Games, regardless of whether there is an increase in passenger numbers.
There's no question that the Olympics relies much less on buses than it does on tube, commuter rail and the Javelin, for example. So, again, TfL may be calculating that if the bus drivers go on strike, though it would have a big effect on London, it wouldn't have as bad an effect on the Olympics as, say, a tube strike.
There have been occasional bus strikes in recent years, like this one in 2008, but they were largely confined to a handful of garages. The last London-wide walkout was 30 years ago.
We can't give in to this sort of ransom tactics. They had a chance to negotiate at the start of the year. They must have known, I presume they knew, that there are Olympics coming up. They should have negotiated what they were going to negotiate then. They can't come along with only a few weeks to go and hold London to ransom. We have to stand firm against this. We mustn't give in, and they must call off the strikes.
It's not just the employers taking a firm line. The union says every time the drivers strike, their demand for an Olympic bonus will increase by £100.
We haven't heard from the mayor himself today on this latest row. We're going to have to wait till tomorrow to hear his response.
Nina, what's not clear tonight is quite what the mayor's strategy is. Is it to take on the unions, as Unite suggests, or is he calling the bluff of the union leaders in the hope that support for the strike will be very minimal and the dispute will wither on the vine? We should have some idea tomorrow of his thinking, because both he and the Transport Commissioner, Peter Hendy, will be questioned in detail by the London Assembly.
OK, confusion also tonight over this no-fly zone. Has it started, or not quite?
Well, the official no-fly zone over the Olympic Park and large parts of London and the home counties, backed up by jet fighters and missiles, is due to start on July the 14th. But suddenly today, at 9:30 this morning, a small